with Jay and Silent Bob. Get old. I'm Kevin Smith.
Jason Mewes!
Welcome, folks. We are at the Orlando MegaCon, which is indeed mega and not a con at all. Put your hands together so they know you're real at home. You are here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, for a very fucking special show. As it turns out, we've never had this happen before. Say something.
Snooch to the nooch.
Jason lost his voice. When I just saw Jason 2 days ago in Calgary, we did a show, he sounded fine. And I came here, and at one point, as soon as I got here, I went to the bathroom backstage and changed because I was all sweaty and shit, and I shaved because I looked like shit. And so I was in the bathroom, I was in one of the handicapped stalls where they have everything in those stalls, man. There's a sink, you can shave, and you can change babies and stuff. So I took that as my apartment, that was my green room. I moved in there, I plugged in a hair dryer so my hair was all soaked wet from sweat. But there was a dude outside the stall who was just like, yo, what are you doing in there? What do you need? And I was like, I'm sorry, who is this? And he goes, it's fucking Jay. I didn't even recognize his voice. It was crazy. And then I walked out of the stall and the Karate Kid was there, Ralph Macchio, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? So his voice is kind of shot, which is fucked up because he's most of the show. So what we'll probably wind up doing is, at a certain point, shifting to Q&A more than anything else. So, there's definitely a fucking show. You just won't hear about all the drugs he used to do. What happened?
I don't know. It's been going up and down. Like right now, luckily I can talk at all. But I don't know. Last night we got here and at one point I just was like going to say hi to someone. I was like, hi. What the fuck? And all of a sudden I realized my buddy Jay that I'm with, his dick was in my mouth. I was like, get it out. No, but I don't know. It just started to get worse and worse. And today I was at the table for a little bit and it was up and down. I was talking to people and then I don't know. I don't know if I'm sick. I'm quit smoking.
You do, because you left a space in there. You're like, well, I quit smoking. And you were looking for some positivity and shit like that.
No, well, because, again, I feel like the pause was because I haven't, it's not like I quit smoking for a week, 2 weeks or something, and I'm struggling. I had a cigarette 2 days ago or whatever, but I'm just saying.
I understand. So the pause is basically so you could lie, essentially.
Possibly.
I quit smoking, 1, 2, 3, kind of,
Yeah, I guess I would say I'm trying to quit smoking, and I feel like maybe it was that. But I don't know, because now my nose started running when we were doing the photos and stuff, and I was shaking people's hand. I was like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, you did, I saw you.
I do this, which is grosser. But it's better than wiping it and going like this.
Fair enough.
I don't want to shake, but anyway.
It's what's the difference between drowning or getting eaten by a shark? There's only subtle differences there.
No, this is me putting my germs on other people. This is me just wiping it, and then the germs lay on my chest. It's like a Bengay, the Bengay on your chest. All of a sudden, I'm just like, oh. But it's all my own germs.
Let the sickness begin.
Yeah, but yeah, it sucks, but we haven't had this problem, and I didn't realize that.
It's the first time in all the time we've been doing the show for 5 years, and nobody's ever lost their voice and shit. The good news is that, if anyone's gonna lose their voice, thank God it's him, because if it was me, you're all fucked. He's got enough content to fill 10 minutes and shit like that. But the good news is the right one lost his voice, but ironically enough, it changes us from Jay and Silent Bob into Silent Jay and Bob.
I told him I'll just sit up here now and be like,
because we've already got somebody doing it right there.
yes! Jay is the best motherfucker around, and he's got the biggest penis in town.
Let's do this instead. Let's do her inner monologue. We're gonna do your inner monologue. Oh my God. Why do I have to sign for these two fucking has-beens? They couldn't have given me Shatner? I mean, Jay and Silent Bill. Who knows these fuckers? Well, at least I'm getting paid $10,000 an hour. Is that accurate? I know that sign language right there. Right on. Oh fuck, this is gonna be weird. So we have to keep our language fairly filthy. But we're trying to keep it clean. My mother is here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. My mom is in the house, and to be honest with you, anytime I come to Florida, like I'm here now in Orlando, I'm coming to Ponte Vedra, right? Ponte Vedra, next week for the Yoga Hosers show. Anytime I get a chance to, somebody's like, you want to go to Florida? I always say yes, because mom is here. Mom lives down here. You know, anytime you get to see your mom, particularly when I live on the other side of the world and shit like that, it's a good thing. However, just recently I had this weird moment with my mom. May 22nd was my father's birthday. And my father's no longer around. He passed away like 12, 15 years ago. He's been gone. So sadly, you know, he doesn't celebrate his birthday anymore, but we all remember it on the day. So it was May 22nd, and so I texted Mom. I looked at the date finally late at night. I was like, oh my God, it would have been Dad's birthday. So I texted Mom. My mom's an absolute saint, a woman. If you've never met her, she's incredible. She's my favorite human being in the world. She never curses her whole life. She hasn't really cursed and shit, which she, like, that was the part of my career she always hated. She's like, everyone's gonna think I taught you those words. But she didn't. I picked them up from him. But my mom never cursed. My mom's like the kind of person doesn't say hell. She says, oh, H-E double hockey sticks and stuff like that. Very, very clean. So I texted Mom and I said, hey Ma, today would have been Dad's birthday. And my mom texted back a few minutes, a text came up, said, no shit. Which was like, what the fuck? Like, I assumed somebody stole my mother's phone. But I didn't want to like go, well, you know, I thought maybe she was feeling blue because Dad's not around and stuff. So I texted my brother, Donald, and I said, hey, I texted Mom to say today's Dad's birthday, and this is what she texted back. And I copied her text into it and said, no shit. And he wrote back, Jesus. She never curses. I said, yeah, was she in a bad mood? He goes, no, she seemed to be in a fine mood when I saw her before. He goes, maybe she was mad you texted her instead of called her and stuff. And I was like, well, I don't know if I want to call her now because she's throwing no shit around. Like, this is epic. This is fucking huge. So I guess Donald like called her or texted her to be like, are you mad at Kevin? Because I was like, what did I do? Was she mad at me? And my mom texted me later on. She goes, oh, Tiger, I forgot this. And put up a smiley face. I was like, Mom, you're failing the technology. And anyway, Mom is here tonight, so that's always a very cool thing for me. We are at a Comic-Con. Him and I hit the ground and we took a bunch of pictures of people. It was really lovely and stuff. He's been here all day. How was your day been at the con?
It's good. Again, it's huge. This con is I've never been here before, and to me, it's as big as New York or San Diego. Like I had no idea it was so big and how many people are dressed up. Who's going in and out. But I really had no idea, like walking from the hotel to the floor, like almost everyone's dressed up in cosplay, which...
The really nice thing is about a quarter of them are dressed like Silent Bob or Kevin Smith. Man, and I was always felt like when we started the movies like 22 fucking years ago, I was like, if these movies were more popular, Silent Bob would be such an easy cosplay, man, for like all us heavy-set dudes, because all I have to do is put on a coat and be like, hey, it's Silent Bob. So like now it's amazing. Like I go to a con now and like I look out and I see people dressed like me, either wearing the fucking jersey or dressed like Silent Bob. And somebody today goes, when are you gonna do Kevin Con? And I was like, oh, I guess we could now, couldn't we? There's at least 100 people that dress like me. We could all meet in a small hotel room and branch out from there. This show is also a very big sentimental show for me. I went to the first MegaCon, my first MegaCon years ago when my dad was alive, when Mom and Dad first moved down here. And so I saw my dad at this convention, on the convention floor, as a matter of fact. And you know, it was always a weird, incongruous environment to see my father, because he wasn't into this stuff, but he fed this stuff. Fed my imagination to me, you know what I'm saying? Like my dad would take me out of school early to go to the movies, matinees every Wednesday, and it was generally to see something I wanted to see. So like Superman, Raiders of the Lost Ark, you know, Star Wars movies, whatever. So first time he did it, I don't know what happened. I guess Mom was like, you gotta spend more time with the little one because he's getting fat or something like that. And he missed, you know, just missed the opportunity. The window closed, and I just kept getting bigger. So his thing with me is like I wasn't a sport kid. I wasn't really into the outdoors and stuff. So we had no internet, of course, no cable TV. Even we had like 3 networks in those days. There was 3 networks and reading and masturbation. That's all we had. Thank God for the internet, something else to do. You know, this was prior to that. So our thing together was going to the movies. My old man would pull me out of school on Wednesdays because you could go for like $1.50. It's very inexpensive. And he worked the night shift. Like he didn't have a day job, so he worked from like 10 o'clock at night till 7 in the morning. So when he got home, he went right to sleep, and then he'd wake up by noon or something like that. So his idea was like, I'm awake, I'll go grab the kid from school, and we'll go see a movie. So I remember when it started, it was such a strange notion. My mom was like, Dad's gonna pick you up from school, and you guys, half day, about 1 o'clock, and then you guys are gonna go to the movies. And I was like, all right, okay, that sounds amazing. Can we do that every day? That sounds fantastic. So I went to school, and my mom said, she goes, look, they're gonna ask you why you're leaving, and you just tell them that your aunt died, and we're going to a funeral. And I said, oh, okay. And we went to a Catholic school. She didn't curse, but she was okay with lying. So I went to school, and they were like, your dad's here to pick you up. And I was like, yeah, we're going to my aunt's funeral. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, we'll pray for your aunt. And I was just like, they'll be wasted. And so we were supposed to go see, we weren't supposed to go see Raiders of the Lost Ark. We were supposed to see something else. But my father was like, I'm going to take you to see this movie, because this reminds me of the movies that I grew up watching. He's going, I've seen the coming attractions, we didn't call them trailers back then. I saw the coming attraction, and it looks like the kind of movies I grew up watching, like cliffhangers and stuff. So we're gonna go see this, Raiders of the Lost Ark. And so, I was like, whatever, it's got Han Solo in it, thank God, let's go see that. And we go, and it's Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's amazing. And I remember going into school the next day and trying to convince people like, oh my God, Indiana Jones, he's amazing. My friend Ernie O'Donnell was like, he's no James Bond. And I was like, this guy's better than James Bond. He was like, oh, nobody's better than James Bond. We'd even fight about shit like that. It wasn't just Marvel DC, it was like James Bond versus Indiana Jones. Like, those are the conversations we would have. So, next week, my dad was like, we're gonna do it again. I'm gonna take him to see another movie. It became a weekly thing. The old man would take me out of school on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock and stuff. So, mom's like, Dad's gonna pick you up, you guys are gonna go to the movies. And I was like, what do I tell the school? And she said, tell him your uncle died. Well, it's okay, so I went to school and I was like, I'm gonna be leaving at 1 o'clock. And they were like, why? I was like, my uncle died and we're going to a funeral. And they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Was he married to your aunt? And I was like, what? And then, oh shit, I killed an aunt already. I now killed an uncle. And they were like, is it a tragedy? Were they in love? Like, did they have children? So I had to lie even further and be like, oh no, they didn't even know each other, other sides of the family. And so the sister was like, oh, thank God. I mean, kind of, My dad picked me up, we went to the movies and shit like that. It continued to the point where one day I was like, I'm gonna be leaving school today at 1 o'clock, and they're like, what relative died now? And I was just like a distant aunt, and they're like, just say you're going to the movies. So my old man like fed my imagination and stuff, and he was never like, He bought me comic books, he took me to movies and stuff. He didn't engage in this kind of stuff himself. Fandom was not a part of his generation. He just watched movies and liked them and stuff. He loved movies, but it never occurred to him to like follow it religiously. Country music was his thing, so he was very into Nashville. But he could see, same way he was into country music was the same way that I was into comics and genre and sci-fi and stuff like that. So he nurtured it, rather than be a motherfucker who was like, grow up, here's a football, be a man. He was just like, be a softie, go ahead. Keep eating donuts and loving on Star Wars, you know? So when he came to the convention the year that him and my mom were, like I was signing and I saw them off to the side, just like before, I was taking pictures and I looked up and my mom was sitting there smiling and she was like, hey, it's Mom. So same thing, I was signing at a table at the con, this was years ago, going back like 14, 15 years ago. And I looked over and there he was. He was in a wheelchair at that point because he had a couple strokes and heart attacks and stuff. So there he was, and there was Mom pushing me in the wheelchair, and I waved, and I only had like 20 more people left. So I finished up everybody and went over. And you know, they had been there for quite some time. I was like, how long were you here? They were like, since the line was way back there. And I was like, why didn't you come over and stuff? I would have broken it off. And my mom was like, no, he loves this. And I was like, yeah, Dad. He's like, yeah. He's going, this reminds me of all the times we would go to the movies. This is what it led to. So being here reminds me of my father. So thanks for being here. Pictures to, there's families that came up, like guys with their kids and husbands and wives and multiple kids and stuff. And that shit does it for each one of them. I was like, oh my God, keep doing this. Like, you have no idea what clue this is. Like, you know, to the kids, you're like, years from now, this is what you'll think of. Like, remember we went to the con and we met that boy with no voice and the fat boy? Didn't know who they were, but our parents seemed to like them a lot. Like, shit like that matters, man. I remember when I was down here in Florida, I tell this story often, but like the first celebrity sighting I ever had in my life was with my dad. And we were at Disney. We didn't stay at the resort, but we were at the Polynesian Village. And so we stayed like off campus at like a Days Inn or some sort of shit. And then we'd go swim at the La Quinta. That's what we were like. Their pool's better, let's go here. And then go to Disney. So we went to Disney to ride the water mice, little boats that you could ride around the Polynesian Village. They were new at that point. So my brother was old enough to do one by himself. My sister was old enough to do one by herself. And I got in a boat with Dad, and he drove and stuff. So it was fun, you know. We were both like crammed into the boat together and shit like that. 2 Christmas hams packed into the water. So I was expecting it to be like a capsize, and that'd be it. But we went out and fucking did the lake. It was like half an hour or some shit. And then came back, you park at the dock, you get out of the boat, and then you walk up the dock, and boom, you're back at the hotel, and you get to the park and go on with your day. So as we're walking up the dock, there's a dude walking toward us who unmistakably is Peter Marshall, who was the host of Hollywood Squares when I was a kid. Now, you know, for me, that was fucking massive. I watched Hollywood Squares all the time. And he was just as famous as the people who were on the show, and funny, and he would like talk to them and stuff like that, and they treated him like a buddy and shit. But you gotta remember, we had 3 channels. There was ABC, CBS, NBC, and then local affiliates. So anything that was on TV was way more famous than it could ever be right now. Like, you and I are somehow famous. Back in the 70s, that never would have fucking happened. So like, you know, very few people ever got onto TV, and the ones that did were like fucking massive, like movie star massive, like in the version of today. It would be kind of like seeing Peter Marshall would be akin to seeing Liam Neeson. We're like, holy fucking shit. Maybe his dick's not as big as Liam Neeson's, but still. It's Peter Marshall. So I'm walking with my dad, he's holding my hand, and I'm like, that's Peter Marshall. Like, you know, I'm a child, I'm uncouth as hell. I say it out loud, I'm not even whispering. I'm like, that's Peter Marshall. And he grabs my hand, he goes, shh, don't, like he's telling me, like, don't embarrass me, fucking shut up and shit. So he's coming toward us, and we're coming toward him. And then just as we reach him, my dad goes, hey, Peter. And Peter Marshall goes, hello. And we keep going. We didn't stop, that was it. And I was fucking flabbergasted. Like, my mind cracked open. I was like, how do you know Peter Marshall? And he's like, I don't. I see him on TV. I know his name. I said, hi, Peter. And I was like, you're allowed to do that? So when I saw like people today, like with their kids, and when they reminded me of that moment on the water, like it's shit like that is what you take with you throughout the rest of your life. I remember shit like that. I don't remember anything bad about my childhood or any disappointment or anything like that, because it was all like wonderful, cool memories like that, being able to do cool shit. So when I see families doing it together still, man, like keep doing it. If you've never brought a family member to this, this is not meant as a commercial for the con, but it kind of works as that. If you've never brought somebody to a convention, bring them with you. Let them see your fucking passion, man. Like when you fucking let your flag fly and stuff, a lot of people don't get to see that part of you in life and stuff. Bring them to a con, show them the real you. It's nice when you get to see people who are on the same level as you and into the same things and whatnot. It's always great when you bring in an outsider. My old man was so fucking blown away. He was like, I had no idea. He's like, for years you would say, oh, I'm going to a comic book show. He's like, I thought it was in a garage or somebody's bathroom or something. Look at all these people and they're dressed up and stuff like that. So shit like that matters, man. Take your kids to the con, bring a friend to the fucking con. I'm gonna stop talking and jump to you.
No, it's cute. Yeah, I could barely talk. I was like about to jump in, but
go ahead. I know,
I'm
interrupt.
just saying it's cute because, like you were saying, the families and a lot of them have matching shirts and shit. I can't talk.
You're fucking shy.
Kids go up and down.
Tell them, before you lose your voice.
Yes.
Tell them the Harrison Ford thing.
So I wanted to tell them because the con reminds me of, I feel like it's as big as San Diego. And last time I was at San Diego, it was awesome, but sort of an uncomfortable moment. Wow, it's getting worse.
Yeah. Don't even just tell the story of the picture, but I'll tell the
So I got a picture on the show because it was awesome. Because last week we were at a convention and Chewy, Peter May came. The guy that works for him at the conventions brought over a picture and was like, "Hey, Peter, signed this for you. This from San Diego," and I totally forgot about it. And I look at it and I'm like, holy shit, I forgot, because it wasn't really a picture for me, but all the stormtroopers, Harrison Ford, Peter, and the gentleman.
The guy who played Finn.
Finn was all there, and I jumped in the picture with him. And you can see Harrison, and I'll show you the picture. Harrison's like, and it was awesome, and I didn't get the picture because I didn't, just because I jumped in, I didn't have a camera to take the picture, but someone took it, this gentleman that was with Peter, and he fucking printed it out and gave it to me, and I think we have it up here. And it was very exciting. I was like, I can't miss this moment.
It's like you can clearly see that John Boyega knows who you are, Peter Mayhew knows who you are, and Harrison Ford is like, who the fuck is this?
And he's like looking at the camera like, look at this asshole. But it was like, I can't pass up on this. And the nice thing is they were taking it, and Peter's wife, I had met Peter and his wife at another convention. I was talking to him outside. When we were all getting ready to leave to go to the hotel, whatever, and his wife's very nice and he's very nice. So I saw them then, and the wife was standing back, and I was like, oh, I want to jump in with them, and she was like, go for it, why not? And I was like, should I? And she egged me on, and then I was like, it was awesome. Also that same day, then after they left, that same night, Suicide Squad, they were showing the trailer, and I realized when I was looking at that, I was like, what a fool, looking back, I was, because I was allowed backstage, but I wasn't really supposed to be there. They were going to show the Suicide Squad trailer, and I'm standing back there, and all of a sudden Will Smith comes in, and the girl that plays Harley Quinn, and all these characters, everyone's walking in, I'm just standing there, and then they start to show the trailer. When you're backstage, it's sort of like this, and they're all back here, waiting to come out to be and welcome Will Smith, and he's like, yeah. But I was backstage, and they're backstage, and they're showing the trailer, so that everyone's like this, watching the trailer, and I realized I'm like, and Will Smith's right next to me, I'm like, great, right? But too uncomfortable to say anything, so I'm just awesome. And it was so weird.
And he's like, fucking Harrison Ford told me about you.
And then they all came out on stage, and then I left, and I was like, That was weird. They probably were like, who's this asshole next to me? But, you know, it was fun. It was fun, so.
That was a very weird con experience for us. Last summer, Comic-Con, edition of San Diego Comic-Con, Star Wars was there for the first time since Star Wars had gone back in 1976 or 77 to Comic-Con. I think they went 76. So Star Wars never brought anything to the con before. They don't have to. They're Star Wars. They're their own universe. But last summer they brought a presentation to Comic-Con. It was long before the movie was coming out. They had a massive panel and stuff with everybody from the movie, old and new, legacy cast and the new kids. Production, JJ was there, Kathy Kennedy. It's fucking crazy. It's an amazing panel. And that's where we were backstage. And there's actually a long story about that. In order to tell you that story, I have to tell you this story. We're here first. There's gonna be a lot of that. JJ Abrams, I met, can I stand up to do this?
Yeah.
JJ Abrams. When I met JJ Abrams years ago when we were doing Clerks. Back in 1994, Miramax bought Clerks. And I went there to Miramax to do some press and stuff, and they had done like a series of college screenings, so they had a box of shirts. Like I remember Gina Gardini was our publicist, and she was like, hey man, here's a box of shirts, do you want them? And I opened up the box, and there was fucking shirts that said Clerks on it. Now, we live in a t-shirt world at this point, where you can get anything on a t-shirt. Harley blowing the Joker blowing Harley, it doesn't fucking matter. They got a shirt of it and stuff. But this was like the first time, like suddenly I'm seeing the name of the movie, our movie, like on a shirt. I was like, this is fucked up. I said, can I have these? She goes, yeah, take the whole box and stuff. There's like 10 shirts in there. So I was like, this is fucking phenomenal. Me and Scott Mosier, my producer, we go downstairs, we're in the Miramax building, go to the parking lot and stuff. We're going to get our car, get our ticket in. And this girl who we knew came over with a guy who I didn't know. And she goes, hey man, this is JJ. And I knew his name because he had sold a script long time before I got in the business called Taking Care of Business with Jim Belushi in it. It was a spec script that JJ had sold that put him on the map. Then he wrote Regarding Henry, that Harrison Ford was in and stuff, and Mike Nichols directed. So I knew his name and shit. I'd heard his name and I'd never met him before. And he was like, hey, I'm JJ Abrams. I was like, hey man, how are you? Nice to meet you and stuff. He goes, what's in the box? And I said, shirts for this movie we made called Clerks. He goes, can I have one? And like a dick, I was like, yeah, okay, sure. And I opened the box and he grabbed a shirt. He's like, thanks, man. And I was like, nice to meet you. And then they went into Miramax to have a meeting. And I remember the whole fucking ride home with Mosier, all I could talk about was like, can you believe he took one of our fucking shirts? We don't know this fucking guy. I had 10 fucking shirts, he took one, now I got 9, man. This guy goes, your math is incredible. And I was like, yeah, he said, why did I just let him have that shirt? I should have held that. But like, no, this is from friends or something like that. He's like, I don't know, I thought it was weird, you just let him take a shirt, man. He walked all over, he owned you like a bitch. I was like, he's a nice guy, man. I don't know. Next time I fucking ran into him, years later, in Los Angeles, and I got a phone call. They were like, JJ Abrams wants to go out to lunch with you and Mick G. JJ and Mick G were working on a Superman movie that didn't happen before the Bryan Singer Superman movie. They were working on One Fell Apart and stuff. So, you know, they were like, we were working on Superman now, we were working with John Peters, and we heard you tell that story on the internet about working with John Peters when they were trying to make Superman with Nick Cage and Tim Burton back in the day. We would like to sit down with you and compare crazy notes. So I said, fucking absolutely. They invited me out to lunch and shit. It was right under the place where Mick G's production office was. And we sat around eating, they told me stories, I told them stories and stuff. And they're like, oh my God, this guy's fucking incredible. This is a weird experience. They took me upstairs, show me footage. I saw pre-viz footage of Superman's first flight for a movie that J.J. Abrams wrote, Mick G directed, that never fucking happened. It was crazy. Great first flight sequence though. It was pre-viz. They do it with all computer animated characters, but you see exactly what it would look like. And at the end of it, man, I was heading out. I was like, thanks for lunch. Good meeting you guys and shit. And I don't really hang out with people in the business, so it's always nice when you get to rub elbows with fucking people that do the job better than you and make more money out of it. Maybe someone will rub off and shit. So before I left, JJ's like, where are you going? I said, I'm gonna go home. I gotta help my wife with my kid's birthday parties tomorrow. And he's just like, oh my God, how old is she? And I was like, she's gonna be 2 years old. And he goes, I have fucking kids. She's almost 2, man. Can I bring my kid to your party? Now, you know, like 2 roads diverged into yellow wood, and I took the road less traveled by, but I got a chance to go back and take the other fucking road, man. Last time he's like, can I have a shirt? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. He's like, can I go to the party? I could literally just be like, no, dude, I don't know you. But instead I was like, yeah, totally, why don't you come by? And then I gave him the address and shit, and I went home and I told my wife, and she goes, how was it? I was like, it was nice. I said, but you know, JJ said, I invited him to the kid's birthday party. She goes, why would you do that? Do you know him that well? I said, to be honest, he kind of invited himself. I didn't want to be shitty about it, so like, but you know, fucking people say that all the time. Hey, I'll come over, we'll never see him again. Fucking next day at the party, he showed up with his kid, man. I was like, hey, how are you? He goes, good, good. And he's like, the party's happening? I said, it totally is. I was like, you realize how rare it is that somebody says, hey, I'll come over, and they actually come over and shit? And he goes, is this rude? I was like, no, it's not fucking rude at all, come on in. So we hung out, and our kids play together. Our kids actually still play together. They go to school together and hang out. It's kind of cute. So I've known him for years, and we've never been like best friends or anything like that, but he's super congenial, really fucking wonderful guy. I invited him onto an episode of Dinner for Five that I did with Jon Favreau once. Jon Favreau hosted a show on IFC called Dinner for Five. And it was great. It's him, 4 other people together, interesting people from the business or whatever. And they just sit around, have dinner at a restaurant, and then fucking talk about shit. It was great. It was like a podcast, but like on TV. So one day he couldn't do it. He was like, you want to sit in? He's going, you're good at this shit. You like talking and eating. Do you want to do the show? So I would love to. So I get to pick my own panel. I picked Mark Hamill, J.J. Abrams, Jason Lee, and Stan Lee. That was our fucking conversation. You can find it online. It's a really great conversation. That's the night that J.J. Abrams meets Mark Hamill for the first time. On that show, they actually talk about a proposed idea, not like we should do this together, but Mark talks about if we did another Star Wars, I always thought that Luke should go bad and shit. And you watch JJ sitting there going, yeah. Not knowing years from now, he'll be able to be like, I could do that if I wanted to. So, you know, known him for years, wonderful dude. Whenever he makes a movie, when he started directing movies, he did Mission Impossible. He goes, dude, come over and watch the flick. I want you to come watch the flick and give me notes. I need notes. I need to cut this movie down. I was like, all right.